So yesterday we were discussing about the cost accounting. In that we have discussed some important terms. That is, what is meant by cost. Cost is nothing but expenditure incurred to produce a product or service. Simple. Costing is nothing but technique or process to ascertain the cost of a product or service. So method or technique which is used, okay, to know how much cost is incurred, that is that process is nothing but called costing. Next we are having cost accounting. It starts with the accumulation of cost and ends with the how much profit it is earned. Simple meaning. So next is cost accountancy. Cost accountancy is nothing but it is the costing techniques and processes. It is application of the costing techniques and processes which are used for ascertainment of cost and its presentation for the decision making purpose. So that is about cost accountancy. There are some important main objectives of cost. That is, one is ascertainment of cost. First one, how much cost is incurred for a particular product or to the entire business or to a particular department. Like that, we can ascertain the cost of a business unit in costing. Whereas in financial accounting, such thing is not possible. You can just estimate the total expenditure and sales. From sales, if you deduct the total cost, you will get profit for the period wise. But in costing, you can estimate product wise, department wise, or business unit wise, or whole organization. That is the ascertainment of cost. Then determining the selling price. In the last, we have discussed the how to determine selling price depending upon the cost. If product cost is total cost is ₹10. If company wants to earn ₹2 profit, so to cost it will add profit and ₹12 they will determine as selling price. Okay, so first point is ascertainment of cost. Next, determining selling price is one of the objects of cost accounting. Next, cost control and cost reduction. These are the other two objectives of main objectives of cost accounting. Cost control means first you will predetermine or forecast some cost and make sure that your total cost should not increase that much. So how you will do this cost control and cost reduction means with the help of techniques of cost accounting. With the help of techniques of cost accounting. So cost control is means you will estimate the cost predeterminingly or forecast the cost, and you will see that your cost should not increase more than that. Suppose I said in last class, if you purchase raw material in bulk quantity, okay, you can reduce selling cost per unit ₹1. So applying that technique, that thing, what you are doing, you are controlling the cost with the help of efficient labor, skilled labor. By putting more number of skilled labor, you may decrease the labor cost by ₹2. So cost control with the help of raw material in bulk quantity. Next one is cost reduction. Cost reduction, that is permanent reduction in the cost with the help of new technology or some new plant and machinery. If you install that, you can reduce the cost. So or some other method with which you can reduce the cost instead of following one method of inventory management. Different other method if you follow, there may be permanent reduction in the cost. So that is these are related to decision making. So based on the decisions of the management, cost reduction and cost control will be done. For that purpose, first cost data should be available. So from where cost accounting gets its data means from financial accounting. Simply. See, there are three branches of accounting, as I said in the earlier class also. Financial accounting, next cost accounting, next managerial accounting. Financial accounting, last 4 sems you have studied about financial accounting. With the help of financial accounting information, that is from balance sheet and P&L, we will get the most of the from P&L information, we will get the cost details. With the help of that information, based on the previous data, what cost accounting will do, they will estimate the future expenses, and with the help of techniques of cost accounting, they will do cost reduction and cost control. So cost accounting is one of the branches of accounting. And next we are having managerial accounting. This is purely for managerial purpose. Okay. Decision making will be done based on the managerial information, like how much dividend should be paid to the shareholders. That decision should be taken based on financial information and cost information. Management will take some decision. So input for the managerial accounting is financial accounting and cost accounting. Sometimes if a product is not doing well in the market, managerial accounting will take the decision to drop that product and instead of that product make another product. Or with the help of cost accounting information, there may be few changes in the product features and characters, and they will relaunch the product with the new thing. जैसे कि we people know some tea powders. Previously, just the tea powders were there. Now, natural tea powders, they are saying. Similarly, टूथपेस्ट, आपके टूथपेस्ट में नमक है क्या पूछ रहा, चारकोल है क्या पूछ रहा. तो दे आर एडिंग फ्यू थिंग्स. लाइबाई इससे पहले एक ही रेड कलर लाइबाई रहता था. नाउ लाइबाई नीम, लाइबाई सिंथॉल और ग्रीन. ओके, one is pink is there, another one blue color liba is there. So all these are, they are making the changes and attracting the customers. To do those things, how much cost it will be required, whether such cost increases the profits of the organization with the object, as well as management will take the decision. This decision making is done in the 6th sem, and this is already over. Now we have to discuss about cost accounting. And cost accounting, as I said, for the study purpose, it has been divided into 3 parts. That is element wise, method and technique. Elements of cost, you can increase here one more element also. It is part of this only, that is overhead. I'll tell why I have not wrote there, because it is part of this expenditure itself. So element wise, if you take any product or a service, there will be some material, some labor involved, and some expenses to make such product available to the customer. Some expenses will be incurred. So all these together put, you will get cost of a product. So element wise we have. And next, methods. Nature of business determines the methods of cost accounting. Unit or output, job costing, it is specific order costing, and batch costing. As I said, batch wise, suppose in pharmaceutical industry, tablets will be or medicines will be manufactured in one bulk quantity, but for the purpose of usage and other things, they will make packing differently. So bulk quantity, batch wise, they will make the product, and for that product, how much cost is incurred, different method of cost accounting is followed. And process costing, I said, in refinery business or for the sugarcane, for the refinery business and other businesses like oil business or crude oil. From crude oil, we can get petrol, diesel, kerosene, and aviation turbine fuel, which is used in the aircraft. So, or rocket. So, those are the different things will be determined at different processes. After one process, another process will be there. So, that is for that purpose, process costing will be different. Similarly, from directly we can't get sugar. Okay, from sugarcane, first it will be given into the machinery, and machinery will process it. There will be some certain stages, and you will get jaggery, that is good bellam. Then later stage you will get first we will get kandasari sugar. Okay, that is mishri in general term. So that mishri again will be divided as a sugar particle. Okay, nowadays you are getting sugar as a powder also, which is used for the tea and coffee purposes. Okay, sugar balls will be there. They will dilute easily. So different processes will be done according to the nature of the business. And I said job costing and contract costing. These are specific order costing. Contract duration will be more in case of contract costing, and it will be used for like civil works, like building construction, real estate businesses. Contract costing, based on the each contract, we need to determine the cost of contract, how much is the contract price, and how much profit is earned in that contract. Next, job costing is there. In job costing, it is a specific order costing according to the tastes and preferences of the customers. A job costing will be done. Order will be placed by the customer. Based on the order, we will prepare the product according to them. Just like I said, example, jewelry yesterday. So jewelry, goldsmith will prepare some design beforehand itself. But people don't want same product, but in similar type they want. They don't want same one. They want similar one with different things, some additions they want. Sometimes in case of this furniture or interior decoration. Okay, so it is depends upon job wise. So for that particular job, how much cost will be incurred, how much labor will be incurred, how much material will be incurred. That is the nature wise, business wise method of costing is applied, and we will get the profit or loss in that business. Unit or output costing, that is to prepare a particular unit or product, how much cost will be incurred, like one TV set, okay, or a refrigerator or AC. Okay, these are radio sets. These are what? Single unit. So to prepare one single unit, how much material, labor, and expenses will be incurred will be computed. And the best thing of cost accounting is you will know total profit as well as per unit profit. Per unit profit. And one more, cost accounting has one more method of cost accounting, that is operation or not operation, operating costing. I said it is for service businesses. One method only is there for service businesses. For service businesses like transportation or any other service, hotel services, hospital services, they are providing services. To provide such service, how much cost will be incurred and how much they are charging, freight and other charges like if transportation, if you take passenger transport is there, goods transportation is there, like that. For service sector, operating costing will be there, that will be determined differently, but it is not in your syllabus. Okay. Material, labor, expenses, and unit output, job costing, batch costing, process costing, contract costing. Till here, whatever are there on the board, that is in your syllabus, along with the first unit, theory unit, introduction. So what I am doing in the classes is, if we totally focus on one unit, first unit theory, it will be boring to you all. But what I will do is, whatever important while doing these related topics, like material is one unit you are having, second unit, your second unit 2 is material, labor and overheads are there. Okay, your unit 3, unit job costing, batch costing, process costing and contract costing, unit 5 is there. So each unit, these are unit 4, I think. So unit wise details are there. So unit wise we need to deal, but while dealing each unit, some theory part also necessary. Along with the first unit theory and second unit theory, we will discuss the theory part as well as practical problem, so that you can understand the concept well. Okay, so don't think that sir अब जो पढ़ा रहे फर्स्ट यूनिट में है और सेकंड यूनिट में है, don't think that they are different. Total casting is one thing, but for the purpose of study it has been divided. For the marks purpose it is divided, for understanding purpose it is only one. So we need to study combinedly. Later on you can divide it for the exam purpose later on. So here is the revision discussion of yesterday's class, and now we will go for today's class. Hope till here no doubt. And moreover we are going to do theory as well as problems, because in exam you will get theory as well as problems, and some theory parts are there which you cannot study by yourself. So that is why those topics I will discuss in the class. Remaining topics which you can study without my involvement, for them also I'll upload for those theory topics in the our YouTube channel, Aspirants channel. So theory topics also will be covered, because time is less. So we need to do more things in limited resources, that is mostly time. We will deal some in regular class, some in YouTube video. Don't worry about that thing. So let us understand the classification of caste, and there may be a theory question relating to this. Okay, classification of caste. First one, based on element. Based on element wise, one is material, labor, and next expenses. Three are there: material, labor, and expenses. Element wise classification of caste. Okay. See, material means what? Material is the thing which is used for the business unit to make a product. Okay. It may be raw material, or it may be consumable one, or it may be a finished product which is used for making a product. Okay, material is the input and it is the main thing to make a particular product. Okay, so some may be consumable or some may be important for the making the product. Okay, and labor. Without material, you can't make the product. Like if I want to make a chocolate, okay, dairy milk, okay, fruit and nut chocolate, I need a choco powder and other ingredients to melt the chocolate. So my main material is chocolate. Okay, that is choco powder. And next, it is a type, I am saying, not silk, it is dairy milk, fruit and nut. So some fruits and nuts which are also involved in making that. So that also as a part of material comes. Next, suppose I am a manufacturer of shirt, okay, cloth. So whatever cloth is there, that is the main material for my product. Okay. It may be silk or it may be cotton, it may be different one. So depending upon the nature of product, it differs. So, but main thing is material, that is cloth. If I want to make a chair, wood is the main material. Some other, to make the chair, some other consumables like Fevicol and other things will also be involved. Those are consumable ones. And labor, just you put the material at there, it will not manufacture or it will not get into finished product. To convert raw material into finished product, some labor work is involved. Some work has to be taken place that will be done by the labor, that is employees. For the purpose of caste, we will call it as labor. So whatever employees giving their efforts to make the raw material. Nowadays, totally automized. If you just put the raw material, that machine itself will make the end product. But to put that into the machine, some labor is required, minimum. That worker's effort are nothing but called labor. Next, expenses. Material and labor are the main things, but some expenses are there. Those expenses it is upgraded to unlimited time, don't worry. So labor, expenses, I'm saying about expenses. To make a particular product, some engineers design and efforts also will be needed in nowadays computerized environment. Apps creation is also one of the product itself for the software business. So designing abilities all comes under expenditure to make a construction of building. Okay, contract is of building construction. You may use bricks, cement, steel, all things to make a building, and labor may be involved. But how it should be structured? First, a designer will come and he will design. His expenses are there, those expenses, designing expenses, and not over that, to control material and labor to make the end product effectively and in less cost, some administration employees also required to look over those material and labor to work every time and use the material efficiently, not to waste the material. So administration expenses will be there. Those also comes under people who are doing the supervision, are nothing but it comes under expenses. Their salaries, whatever remuneration, whatever you are paying, they are not doing work, they are making the things done. So managerial remuneration, like that. So main administration staff who are foreseeing the activities of material and labor are called nothing but expenses. And in based on relation with the end product, based on the relation with the end product, material, labor, and overhead expenses have been divided. One is direct, another one indirect. So there are two things: material, direct material, indirect material. Labor, direct and indirect. Similarly, expenditure, direct and indirect. In the last three examples itself, I have mentioned about these things. Like suppose material is there. So it is a shirt. I am wearing it. So cloth is converted into shirt. One person is required to stitch the cloth, but before that, it should be cut into a particular measurement. The person who is doing such measurement, tailor, one person directly, in case of corporate structure, where we will purchase ready-made garments, no? Designer will be there. That designer will make the design of the product. So whatever you are paying to him is direct expenses. Similarly, labor who are directly involved in the making the product, that person who is stitching, his salary or whatever wages you are paying to that employee are direct labor. And material which is directly used in making the product and which is directly identifiable in the product, which is directly you can identify in the product. Material which is directly identifiable in the product, its cost is direct material cost. Okay, like in the shirt, cloth; in the chair, wood. Okay, these are the direct. And indirect is what? Material, some material. Now there is thread. Okay, in the stitching the shirt, but this thread, how much thread you will use, can you measure? And its cost. Sometimes one particular shirt, how much cost is incurred for the cloth, we can measure. Suppose you have taken bundle of cloth. From bundle of cloth, how much for the 1 meter you can identify cloth cost, and you can tell this is the direct material cost. Suppose say 100 rupees is the cloth for one sheet. Okay, from thread, whatever will be there, can you measure how much it will be? It is waste of time. Human effort should not be wasted unnecessarily. How much thread will be? It will be there. One total thread bundle is say rupees 10 rupees. Okay. Out of this, how many shirts will be stitched? Oh, if you say 5 for each 2 rupees, like that, it is unnecessary calculation. We will take it as indirect material. We will take it as indirect material. Similarly, before that, I said one more thing, material related. I want to make fruit and nut, chocolate, dairy milk. The chocolate powder which I use are ingredients, fruits and nuts, maybe material, direct material, which are you can directly identify with the product. The paper which is wrapped with the chocolate is indirect material, and with just paper it will not be. It will be packed in separate polythene cover. So that material is indirect material. It is not directly involved in making the chocolate, but it will give added features to the chocolate. Without that, you cannot sell it in the market. If you sell, there will be less demand for your product. Okay. So indirect is which are not directly attributable to the product, but they are also incurred. So that is indirect material. Hope you have understood what we are saying. Direct labor, indirect labor. Direct labor which is directly attributable to particular product. Okay, how much efforts you can directly involve, like supervision and other things comes under indirect. The person who is making the production activity comes under direct labor. The person who is forcing him to do that activity in the production activity is indirect labor. So cost is allocated as direct and indirect, and expenses which are directly, as a designing expenses of a particular structure or designing expenses of a particular product. Research and development expenditure will be there, but that expenditure is not direct or indirect because product is not yet made. But some employees will make some product design. So based on the designing, product will be prepared. In case of interior decoration, in case of contract business, or in case of jewelry, or in case of customized things, furniture and other things. So those expenses which are paid are direct, and which are not direct are expenses which are incurred in production activity are direct, and expenses incurred in other than the production activity are indirect. Like administration is no way concerned with the making the product. Direct always will be have direct relation with the product. Like here, direct expenses means in factory rent is there, that is directly related with the product. Similarly, showroom rent will be there, that is indirect expenses. But in the factory production takes place. So those expenses will come under direct, and these expenses will come under indirect. Okay. Next is, if you add all these, direct one, for making unit output costing, This direct material, direct labor, direct expenses together called as one particular cost, prime cost. Without this cost, product cannot be prepared. Without this cost, product cannot be prepared. This is prime cost. What are they? Direct material, direct labor, and direct expenses. Okay. If you want, you can write direct material plus direct labor plus direct expenses are nothing but prime cost part. Then what about indirect? There are indirect things also, no? Indirect material. I'll take here. Indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses together called as overhead. Overhead. What are they? Indirect material, indirect labor, indirect expenses. All these together called as overhead. This is classification on the basis of element wise and material and labor overhead. Material is your second unit. Labor and overheads are your third unit. Okay. We will deal all those things. Don't worry about it. So first understand the concept. What is direct material? Direct, there can be a question, difference between direct material and indirect material. Direct cost and indirect cost, which are having direct relationship with the product. It may be direct material, direct labor, or direct expenses comes under direct, which can be directly attributable or allocated to a particular product or production activity, is nothing but direct cost. Next, indirect means which are indirectly involved in making the product or service available to the customer or consumer, is nothing but indirect expenses or indirect cost. Okay, that may be indirect material, indirect labor, or indirect expenses. Like administration, selling, distribution, all these are indirectly related with the product. They are not related directly with the production activity. Who are working in factory will make the product, but who will make the product reach to the customer? Selling and distribution people. But from factory to the reach of customer, there will be some other people called administration. Okay, who will administer or make the product available at the production level as well as consumption level. They will foresee production activity as well as selling and distribution activity. So these are administering the product. So these costs are indirect costs, but incurred at factory as well as selling and distribution also. So next, our classification, element wise classification has next divided as function wise. In continuation of this chart only you will write. Now I said prime cost and overhead, right? These together are nothing but your material, labor, and overhead. Function wise classification. based on function wise. That is production, administration, selling and distribution, research and development. So prime cost, which is direct material plus direct labor plus direct expenses. These are incurred at production. So whatever cost incurred for producing a particular product or providing a service is nothing but production cost. Okay, simple. So expenses incurred at the point of production are in the factory for the purpose are nothing but production. So prime cost is here. Next, overheads are there now. Those are nothing but your indirect material plus indirect labor plus indirect expenses. These are called as overhead, and these overheads have been divided into administration, selling and distribution, because they directly not involved in production activity, but they are involved with the product. Okay, they are included in the making the product. So sorry, not making the product, for making the sale or consumption of the product. So administration, selling, distribution and research and development expenditure are there. These are indirect, and indirect all are called as overhead. So function wise it is production, administration, selling, distribution and research and development. Sir, marketing is part of selling, distribution. Okay, so whatever cost incurred for the administration purpose of the business unit are nothing but administration cost or administration overhead, you can say. These are indirectly related with the product. Next, selling and distribution. To make product available to the customer, there will be some expenses incurred at the selling and distribution level, like showroom. In showroom, there will be some employees who will show you the product. If you go to a shopping mall, okay, where product is already prepared at the where production in the factory, through the help of administration, from factory to it will reach sales center. That is nothing but your shopping malls or shops. So at shop there will be some people who will show you some products. Suppose it is garment related. Okay, if you go to RS Brothers or somewhere else, some people will be there, salesmen. Come, ma'am. Hello, sir. Seat, please. They will offer you something. Then they'll take the price also like that only. Okay. So selling and distribution, employees will be there to make the product from factory to the sales center or consumption point. There will be some expenses, transportation. Okay, the transportation expenses, salesman commission, all these are selling and distribution related expenses. So these expenses relating comes under selling and distribution overheads also, because they are indirectly related, not directly related. Next, research and development. This is your out of syllabus from your, but there may be a question relating to it, because nowhere in practical problems these expenses will come, because product is not available at such stage. Now, coronavirus vaccine has introduced in the market, but it takes place to make vaccine. Whatever expenses incurred to make the vaccine available, test trial, all those things will be there. It will be tested, not directly come into the usage. To make the research of that product, what is that corona vaccine is maybe sold in the market 350 rupees, okay, one vaccine dosage wise. So if that is sold at 350 rupees to the patient or whoever consuming them, but to make that, there are some research and development phases to make the vaccine available. So that expenditure, vaccine doesn't come, it is still under process. Whatever expenses are incurred by the research and development phase, how it should be attributable. Those expenses are not come in the with the product, but after research and development cost only product will come into existence. So these expenses will be taken by the managerial accounting person whether to produce vaccine or not, because you are experiment something that may be successful or it may fail. If it is failed, whatever expenses you have incurred will go in vain. But to do such thing, some research will be takes place first, then development will be takes place later. This will be studied at PG level. Don't worry about this expenditure. So it is not included in the total cost of the product. How it should be accounted in the books? It directly comes under financial accounting, not in the cost accounting. Don't worry about it. Whether to go for research and development or not, managerial accounting will take the decision. Okay. So it is not cost accounting part. It is related with the managerial accounting. We will discuss later on. Okay. Next, function wise classification is over. Element wise classification is over. Okay. Next, we are having other classification: controllable, uncontrollable. Okay. But controllable, uncontrollable are there. Those are also related with the managerial decision making. Cost which can be controlled at a particular level of activity are nothing but controllable cost. Cost which cannot be controllable at a particular level of activity are uncontrollable cost. Okay. Till that you remember for the controllable and uncontrollable, because that is related with the management itself. Managerial accounting concept not comes here. Other things are there. Now we have classified on the basis of function. These can be classified on the basis of variability. On the basis of variability. Change. Okay. Which changes, which does not change. Cost which change or which tend to change are variable cost. With the production or output. With the production or output, which changes are variable cost. Cost which does not change are nothing but fixed cost. So on the basis of variability, there are three types of cost. One is fixed cost. Another one is variable cost. Next one is semi-variable or semi-fixed. Semi-variable or semi-fixed cost. Before explaining these things, take a screenshot because I am going to explain these things. What is variable cost? What is semi-variable cost or semi-fixed cost? And these are also required for the purpose of decision making and for the purpose of different techniques of cost accounting is there. Marginal costing, standard costing, absorption costing, direct costing. At there, this fixed and variable cost plays crucial role. So these whatever you are listening now should remember till your 6%. Okay, because fixed cost, variable cost plays a crucial role in decision making of a product. There is one particular topic in the 6th sem. At there, again this I will repeat, but I'll ask you people first. Okay, so let us see what is fixed cost. If a cost does not change, or cost which is constant for a particular product at any level of activity, whether you produce 1000 units or 10,000 units, its cost remains same. Its cost remains same. Suppose I am conducting tuitions at here. Suppose I am paying rent to this premises. Rent paid to this premise is fixed cost or variable cost? How can we say? Whether 10 number of students sit here or 2 number of students sit here, it doesn't matter. How much output is produced, it doesn't matter. Our cost is fixed. Okay. So cost which are doesn't change or which remain constant are nothing but fixed cost. Cost which change are nothing but variable cost. Okay. Suppose now in offline class I am having 2 students sitting over here. Okay. We are there. I made them to sit and make the video available. So if few more students come, I need additional furniture. Okay. So if other students come, I need to buy those things. So that additional one output is increasing my additional cost. So additional one output, if I increase one output, I need to incur some additional expenditure. So cost which changes with the product output or activity level is nothing but variable cost. Which does not change is fixed cost. I'll tell one more example. Okay. Suppose you want to get what we will say. You want to get biryani at home parcel. Okay. Okay. One family pack, say rupees 500 rupees a family pack is there. Okay. One family pack, it is 500. If your number increase 2 family packs, another 500 we need to pay, that is variable cost. Whereas what is fixed then? The person who is going and bringing, okay, or when you order through online itself, if you are ordering, cost incurred for the product is what? 500 plus 500, 1,000 rupees. Okay. But the person who is bringing, okay, delivery, hota na? Okay, for that shipping charges will be there. That is fixed. Whether you get 2 family packs or 1 family pack, he will charge the same 50 rupees or 100 rupees as shipment charges or delivery charges. Those charges are okay. Suppose will always fixed cost remain same. By mistake, first you have made 1 family pack. Order is placed, so your fixed cost is delivery charges. Your variable cost is family pack, whatever you are ordering. Immediately your mom came and said, "Arey, some relatives also coming, make another order." If you increase 1 more order, your variable cost and fixed cost both are increasing. We cannot say always fixed cost remain constant. It may change due to circumstances and changes. Okay. Suppose I said our tuition point at here in this premises, if 5 more students comes also, I can accommodate here and we can have same fixed cost whatever I am paying. Okay. But 20 students come, this room is not enough, I need to get bigger premises, then my fixed cost will increase. So don't fix the fixed cost, always remain constant. Based on the certain exceptions are there may be change in the fixed cost also. For time being, with the number of output, if output changes, if cost changes, that is variable cost. If output changes, there may not be any change in the cost, that is fixed cost. Till here, no problem. Sir, then what is this semi-variable or semi-fixed cost? Okay. At particular level of activity, fixed cost remains same. After that, it will change. Okay. That cost is nothing but semi-variable or semi-fixed cost. Till particular activity, it is same. Later on, it will change. I'll give one example. Generally, everyone will give this example only. I'll give 2-3 examples for this. First, electricity bill. Okay. Up to 50 units, it is same. Whether you consume 50 units or not, minimum bill payment will be there. That is your what? Fixed cost. Okay. Or variable cost up to that level of activity. From 50 units to 100 units, price may change. Up to 50 units, they may charge 2.5 rupees or 2.4 rupees. From 50 to 100 units, they may charge at 3 rupees or 3.5 rupees. Okay. At here, cost is 3.5. At here, it is 2.5. It is varying, but up to a level of activity, it is fixed. Particular level of activity is fixed. Later on, it will increase. I'll tell one more example. In case of postpaid plan, in the activity, cost will remain same. Later on, it will change. That cost is nothing but semi-variable or semi-fixed cost. Some portion it will be fixed, some portion it will be variable. Previously, in mobile, if you make 100 calls, okay, per month, you need not pay anything. It will be in the same itself. After that, if you make any call, it will be charged at ₹1 per minute. Particular level, if you make, hello, what we were discussing about semi-variable cost or semi-fixed cost. So initial plan up to 100 rupees, say 100 calls, you can make 100 calls at ₹100. Okay, for each additional call per minute, they may charge ₹1. So up to 100 calls, it is 100 rupees, it is fixed. Remaining how many minutes you are talking, based on that, your cost will increase. So variable cost starts from there on. So it is some portion it is fixed, some portion it is variable. Similarly, data plans also like that only. Up to particular level, 5 GB, 10 GB or per month, 25 GB or 50 GB, it will be fixed. Later on the basis of your usage, additional charges will be incurred. Those additional costs are nothing but your variable cost. Okay. So here are some examples for the fixed cost and variable cost, and I'll tell few more important points relating to fixed cost. Suppose okay, I'll write here. It will be good for our understanding. 1,000 units, 10,000 units. Okay, activity level is 1,000 units is one, another is 10,000 units we are making. Suppose here particular semi-variable cost is there. Okay, semi-variable cost, first fixed cost we will take. And here there are two columns. One is per unit column, another one total. One is total, another one per unit. Okay, fixed cost, what I said, it will remain same. Whether your activity level is 1,000 units or 10,000 units, if your fixed cost is 5,000 rupees, it will be 5,000 rupees for 10,000 units also. But per unit, 5,000 divided by 1,000 units, it will be per unit 5 rupees. Whereas fixed cost, if you divide with the 10,000 units, it will be 50 paise. So fixed cost in total remains constant. Per unit it will change. Whereas variable cost per unit remains constant, and in total it will change. For one family pack 500, for two family packs 1,000 rupees. So per family pack it is fixed, but in total it will change. Similarly, variable cost per unit, say ₹2. For 1,000 units, it will be 2,000. If you are producing 10,000 units, per unit it is 2, but in total it will be 20,000. So what I mean to say, fixed cost remains in total constant. Variable cost per unit remains constant. In total it will change. Okay. Whereas semi-variable cost or semi-fixed cost, it will remain particular activity level constant. Later on it will increase. Up to some level it will be fixed. Later on it will be variable. That is the nature of semi-variable or semi-fixed cost on the basis of variability. Okay. Hope till here you have understood. One is classification on the basis of element wise material, labor, and on the basis of relation. Okay, that is direct and indirect. On the basis of function, production, administration, selling, distribution, and research and development. Next, on the basis of variability, fixed and variable cost. And these costs, fixed costs or variable costs, are direct or indirect costs, again will be divided on the basis of time. Okay, historical cost, forecasted cost, budgeted cost. Historical cost means cost which is already incurred is historical cost, and costs which are not incurred but estimated are not nothing but forecasted or budgeted cost, which are not really incurred. Okay, historical cost means already incurred cost, and budgeted cost, it is just budgeted but not incurred, estimation. This may be takes this much to produce a particular product. It may incur 10,000 rupees. That is estimation. Actually incurred maybe 11,000 or 9,000. That is historical cost after incurring. So time basis classification is also there. Next, for managerial decision making, implicit cost, out of pocket cost, like that, other things are there. I'll explain those in the YouTube. Okay, don't worry about them because those are not relevant for the practical problems. These are relevant for the practical problems. That is why we are discussing these. Remaining we will discuss in the other video. So till here you have understood, hope. So let us go to the next chapter, our unit 2, material. So people may be having some doubt whether theory class is there, our online and offline class may work. For the practical class, it is not so. So that is why I'll explain that one also here with a small practical problem which comes under material chapter. Okay. In the before our discussion, we have studied about what is material and what is direct material, what is indirect material. Okay, and material is the major part of any product. So it should be managed very efficiently and effectively to reduce the cost or control the cost. So for the control purpose and for the reduction purpose, cost control purpose, there are certain techniques or methods used by the costing people, okay, to handle the material effectively and efficiently for the utilization purpose and production purpose also. So for that purpose, they maintain stock level. What they maintain? Stock level. Okay. How much stock should be maintained at a particular point of time. Okay. So for that purpose, to maintain the stock intact. Okay. For the production purpose, if you are ready to produce the product, but material is not available, then what happens? Production function or operating function will stop. Such things should not be happen. For that purpose, if you maintain excess material also, what happens? Your inventory cost will increase. So excess cost increase. Okay, in the material, you have purchased the stock, but you are producing little. Then also your cost increases because storage and other things also required. So to maintain stock effectively, what costing people will do, they will go for EOQ concept. What concept? EOQ concept. Economic order quantity. What it is? Economic ordering quantity, EOQ. Okay, to maintain the stock available all the time. To maintain the stock available all the time, what they will do? They will go for EOQ. Okay. What is EOQ means? Economic ordering quantity. What is economic? Economic means minimum. Okay, not more. Okay, at lesser we need is very economical, people will say. Means that he always thinks there should not be any wastage. Okay, so EOQ is such order quantity where your total cost of inventory will be low or minimum. So what is economic order quantity means? It is the order size at which total inventory means stock or material cost will be lower or minimum or least. Okay, with some exceptions. If you go for higher order size other than the EOQ, if supplier gives you excess discount, then you will compare whether discount one should be ordered or EOQ should be followed. First, we will understand EOQ, then we will think about those discounting and so this is the first point relating to EOQ. Second point, at EOQ, total ordering cost and total carrying cost of inventory will be minimum. Your total ordering cost and total carrying cost. Carrying cost means storage cost. Ordering cost means to order such material. Okay, that is your ordering cost. Suppose in general, people will purchase rice bags for daily consumption purpose. So, at how much will be your order size? 25 kgs one rice bag or 25 kgs two rice bags. Okay, if 2 rupees decrease in the price, you can't purchase 10 bags of rice bags and put as a storage, because to store 10 bags you may have additional space. Okay, instead of keeping only rice bags, you can put other material or another thing. So ordering cost and carrying cost of inventory will be minimum, and at this point total ordering cost will be equal to total carrying cost. Your total ordering cost will be equal to your total carrying cost. Means at EvoQ, if your ordering cost is say 1000 rupees, your carrying cost also will be 1000 rupees. That is what. As 997. Okay, 997. 1000 we wrote now. So your ordering cost is 1000, whereas your carrying cost is nearby 1000, because some per unit calculation will be there in carrying cost, which will be nearby same. Okay, so almost equal. And inventory cost formula for EOQ. How to measure economic ordering size or ordering quantity? It will be under root two AO by C. It is under root 2AO by C, where A equals to annual consumption or demand. It is annual. Annual means total year for 12 months period. If they give monthly, we need to take 12 months. If they give per day consumption, we need to take 365 days or 360 days round. Then if they give as per week, okay, per week 100 kgs of material is used. How many weeks will be there in whole year? 52 weeks. So 1000 into 52 we need to take for annual consumption purpose. Next, O. This is ordering cost per order. Okay, ordering cost per order. For making one order, how much cost it will be incurred. Next, C, that is carrying cost. Carrying cost per unit we need to take, and per annum we need to take. Per unit, per annum. For each unit, how much will be carrying cost? Generally, it will be given as a percentage base. So to store inventory, how much cost will be required for one particular unit? Per unit they are saying, and that too per annum. Total whole year, how much it will be? Book. Next. Here we take one small problem relating to it. Suppose a firm has following data where annual consumption A, annual consumption given in the question, 3,200 units. How many units? 3,200 units. This is one thing. Second, they are giving ordering cost. Ordering cost per order rupees 40. And carrying cost per unit per annum. I'll write here. Third point. Carrying cost per unit per annum rupees 1 decent. From this we need to calculate EOQ. Okay. EOQ is equals to root under root whatever you say 2AO by C. Here A is equals to 1,200 units decent. O ordering cost per order rupees 40. Then C carrying cost per unit per annum rupees 1. All this I am just I am giving brief information here. So if you put these all in the formula, EOQ equals to under root 2 into, if nothing is there, we need to take as multiplication 2,000 units into ordering cost rupees 40 divided rupees 1 per unit. This is per unit, this is per order. So it will be, here it will be 2 into 3,200, 6,400, 6,400 into 40. It is 2,56,000. Okay, divided by 1 rupee. So it will be under root 2,56,000 only. Okay, for the root of this, it will be 505.96 or 50. You can take. Multiply this, divide. If anything is divided by 1, same will come. No multiplication. Per unit carrying cost, per unit we need to take, per annum we need to take. That is only given in the question. Okay. For 1 unit, how much? That is only we need to take. Not multiplied with the 3,200 units. Okay. For 1 unit, how much it is? That only we need to take. I said how many units we need to get? You can't get 5.96 units. So we need to get 506 units as a EOQ. Okay, when you are ordering, how many units we need to order? 506 units we need to order. Okay. Annual demand is how many? How much? So how many times we need to order? Number of orders to be placed. Number of orders to be placed is equal to annual consumption divided by order size. Here order size is EOQ. Annual consumption 3200 units we require. Every time how much you will be ordering? 506 you will be ordering. So how many times you need to order? 3200 units you require. You are placing order size 506 units each time. So how many times you need to order to get 3200 units divided by 506? It will be 6.32, means around 7 orders we need to place or 6 orders we need to place. Means every 2 months 1 order we need to place. Total 12 months will be there. If you require 6 orders, you will place every alternate month. 1 month you will order, another month you will not order. Next month you will order again. How many units you will order? 506 units you will order. If you multiply 506 into 6, it will be 7 times we will order otherwise, because 506 2 into 3200 into 40. 506 into 6 if you do, you are getting 3036 only, but not 3200. If you make 7 orders, okay, because annual consumption is how much? 3200. So there are lesser. So this 0.32 units also making change in the calculation. So how many times we need to order? 7 times we need to order. There may be excess stock, don't worry about it. So 506 into 7, it will be 3542. That will be adjusted later on. Okay. So number of orders to be placed is 6.32. Okay, or you can take 7. Next, ordering cost, total ordering cost. Okay, total ordering cost number of orders required into number of orders required into ordering cost per order. Number of orders required is, just say 7. 7 orders into rupees 40. It will be 7 4 28. 280 rupees will be your ordering cost. What we said at EOQ, your total ordering cost and total carrying cost will be equal. Let us check that one also. Total carrying cost. How to compute total carrying cost? Average, listen, average inventory in hold into carrying cost per unit, okay, per annum. Average means half. So that is half of A. What is your annual consumption? Right? No. Average inventory in hold. Generally, what is your EOQ? Order size. Generally, at any point of time, you will be having this much only, because this much only you are ordering. So, average inventory in holding means your order size, that is 506 units. 506 units into half into carrying cost per unit 1 rupee. So, it will be 506 divided by 2 into 1, 253 rupees. It is nearby here because here we are taking instead of 505 we are taking 5.96. So there may be slight variation, but almost it will be equal to the same, because there are points in this problem, that is why it is not matching. Generally it will get matched. So total ordering cost plus total carrying cost is nothing but your total inventory cost along with the purchase price of the material. Suppose per unit rupees 10 is required to purchase 1 unit. 10 rupees into how many units we need to purchase? Those many units we will multiply, plus this ordering cost will be also included. So 3000 into 10 rupees, 32,000 plus 280 plus 253. Total together will be your total inventory cost. This is about EOQ. Hope you have understood. Remaining we will discuss in our next video. But before that, I want to make one more clarification to those who are still thinking whether to go for the class or not. One thing, that it is February month and you have already paid your exam fees, as well as many colleges are conducting your internal also. There may be any chance, I am saying now in the video also, by the end of this month or the second or third week of the month, you may get a notification relating to the exam. So don't waste the time. If you are not listening to a video class or not attending anywhere, at home or in the college, wherever you are going, study. Otherwise, it will make a big problem for you all. Okay. In the March, there will be exam. So that is why we are conducting the classes. If anyone interested, they can join the class, whether offline or online. Others, it's their wish. Here we are ending our demo class 2. If you like it who are watching on YouTube, and share with your other friends also. Just one motto Aspirants Institution is having, that is, okay, our motto is your success. So सीखना बंद तो जीतना बंद, सीखते रहो जीतने के लिए। जय हिंद।